You're in a dark, windowless room. In front of you is a wide screen. It's been there for as long as you can remember. So long that you know everything about it. Every image, every character, every story. The screen is your entire world. One day, something odd happens. The screen flickers and for the first time, you notice something else. A door in the corner of the room. Has the door always been there? You should keep watching the screen, but the sliver of light under the door pulls you in. The closer you get, the brighter it becomes. Your eyes sting at first, but you keep going. When your hand lands on the doorknob, you feel it tingle. You pull the door open. The bright yellow sun hugs your face. You feel its warmth on your skin. It's overwhelming, but it's incredible. As you breathe in the open air, you finally see the world beyond the screen. There are glistening streams, tall trees, colourful flowers, and the fluffiest white clouds you've ever seen. It's far beyond anything you've seen on the screen. Suddenly, you remember. The others. There are other people still in a dark room, staring at the screen. You've got to go back and tell them the truth. But would they believe you? Or would they laugh and say that's impossible? The screen is all there is. Would you try to convince them? Or would you live in the sunlight, while the others live in the dark? Plato's name shows up a lot in philosophy, usually somewhere near the beginning, just after "What is philosophy?" and right before "Why does any of this matter?" He lived in Athens about 2,400 years ago. His writings are some of the earliest complete philosophical texts we still have, and for better or for worse, they helped define what philosophy became in the Western world. People still quote him, professors still assign him, and every few years, someone tries to prove that he was talking about quantum mechanics all along. What makes Plato interesting isn't just what he wrote, it's where he came from. He was born into an elite Athenian family with political ties that went back generations. His uncles were part of a short-lived dictatorship called the 30 Tyrants, put in power by Sparta after Athens lost the decade-long war. It didn't go well. The regime was violent and widely hated, and when democracy came back, it tried to clean house. One of the people it went after was Plato's teacher and mentor, Socrates. Socrates was known for standing in public places and making people feel uncomfortable about their beliefs. He was charged with corrupting the youth and not believing in the gods of the city. The trial didn't last long. He was sentenced to death, and he accepted it without much resistance. He drank the poison calmly in front of all his friends. Plato watched it happen. He left Athens. He travelled through Egypt, southern Italy, and other parts of the Mediterranean. Places where philosophy, religion, and science weren't kept in separate boxes. He studied with priests, mathematicians, and mystics, collecting ideas that had been around for centuries. Eventually, he came back and started writing. He opened a school called the Academy, and yes, that's where the word academy comes from. He spent the rest of his life trying to answer the question, what is justice? What does it mean to know something? And why do we believe things that aren't true, even when the evidence is right in front of us? In one of his most famous works, The Republic, Plato sketches out a kind of ideal city. It's not a city anyone would actually want to live in, but that's not really the point. Tucked inside that book is a story, a short one, about a group of people chained in a cave, watching shadows on a wall, and for some odd reason, that story stuck. Plato often told stories or allegories to explore the nature of reality. In one, he imagined people living in a dark cave, chained so they only see the shadows on the wall in front of them. The shadows were cast by objects passing in front of a fire they couldn't see. To them, the shadows weren't reflections, they were reality itself. When one of them breaks free, he is amazed by the light on the world outside. Eventually, he understands the truth. The shadows were illusions, and reality is far richer and more vibrant than he could have ever imagined. This story appears in Book 7, right in the middle of a longer discussion about education and how leaders should be trained to recognize the truth. Plato told this story to explain how we see the world and how we learn. Most of us build our view of the world around shadows, mimicking, admiring, and arguing about them. We don't realise we're in a cave, and it's not just ignorance that keeps us there, it's comfort too. For many of us, the shadows are enough. In ancient Greek philosophy, the sun is seen as the highest truth. When people break free from the chains and step out of the cave, they gain a whole new perspective. So why go back? Plato believed that those who reached the light would feel a pull to return and help others out. Whether out of duty, guilt, or ego, it wouldn't be easy. They're yelled at, they're laughed at, and some prisoners would even try to silence them for good. Those who are curious enough to listen may not have the courage to leave as well. Remember, for the people in the cave, the shadows feel safe. The idea of something more is terrifying. Plato's Allegory of the Cave describes 3 kinds of people. Those who never question the shadows. They're so used to the chains that they don't even notice them anymore. They'll defend their reality to the end. The second group are the ones who notice something's off. Maybe a shadow looks strange or a sound doesn't match what they see. They ask questions but are scared to do anything, so they make excuses to stay where they are, caught between curiosity and fear. They want the truth, but they are afraid of what it might cost them. The last is the third group, those who break their chains and climb out. They face the pain of the light, the struggle of unlearning, and not knowing what comes next. In the end, they see the world as it truly is. Plato thought that this was one of life's biggest challenges. Breaking free is hard, but convincing others to do the same can feel impossible. Not everyone will listen, and most won't even understand, even when it's right in front of them. But for Plato, the act of trying is part of the journey. Those who reach the light have a moral responsibility to return, because the truth means very little if it's kept to ourselves. It's about having the courage to leave, courage to see, and the courage to go back and help others, even when it's difficult. Now let's talk about the challenges here. Leaving the cave isn't easy. The light hurts at first, it's overwhelming. But our eyes adjust and we start to see the world as it truly is, full of endless colour, shapes and depth. That's the first challenge. The second is deciding what to do next. Plato thought it was our duty to share what we've learned. But how do we share the truth without causing harm? If we burst into a cave shouting about sunlight, most people will ignore you, or worse, push you away. The truth can be scary, especially when it shatters someone's entire worldview. Why are you sharing this truth? Is it to help others, or to feel superior? Plato forces us to think about our intentions as well as our actions. The truth isn't just about being right. How and why you share it matters. Most people think the cave is a metaphor for personal enlightenment, and it is. But it's also the culture we live in. A culture that runs on habits, incentives, imitations of imitations. It's kept together from the inside by the people in it. Some double down on the shadows. Others claim they've escaped, then sell you a shortcut. Something quicker, simpler, usually branded. But it's all part of the cave, just with better lighting and worse advice. It's what happens when a culture agrees not to ask too many questions. Or worse, ask the wrong ones. So maybe the lesson isn't about escaping the cave and dragging others into the light. It's about learning to walk between the two. Carry the light with you, but move carefully within the shadows. Share what you've learned, but be humble and kind. The goal isn't to make people see, it's to make them curious. Where are you right now? Still in the cave? Stepping into the light? Or learning to walk between both worlds? Wherever you are, ask yourself, what's real? And what's next?